Hi there, welcome to the halftime huddle. This is December now. I've been going live last month and we've rebooted the halftime huddle. For those who don't know who I am or what this halftime huddle is, and you stumbled across it, my name's Mark Webb. I am founder of Air Game Masterminds, and we started the halftime huddle a couple of years back. It took a little bit of a break. And we rebooted it a couple of times. We rebooted it recently as part of a challenge I did last November, or this current November, to go live, to get back to doing these kind of things, because I think it was something that I thought was quite useful, missed. The premise behind this, A-Game Mastermind, is focused on supporting small businesses by helping them leverage the expertise and experience of their peers in communities of practice, masterminds, essentially. But sometimes you have to, spend some quality time on your own. Small businesses spend a lot of time in their own little small business with maybe if they're on their own, maybe they've got a small team. And they have to keep focusing. And one of the things about the halftime huddle is it's here halfway through the week to help bring you back on track. We start the week with great intentions, and if we're not too careful, stuff gets in the way. Life gets in the way. A shift happens, as they call it. So what we try and do here is give some indications of talking to other small businesses and to see how they cope with it, and also to spend some time, tips and tricks, ideas, things to help you, things to motivate you, ready for the second half of the week. And this is why we're halfway through on a Wednesday lunchtime, halfway through the week, hump day, so we can help and support people to go through the rest of the week. So that's what we do, and that's why we're here. If you want to take part, this is a call to action. I'd love to have a talk to you. Come along and to chat and share how you keep focused during the week. Any tips and tricks that you might be able to help with. Share your business, what you do for people, what products you make. How you keep your focus and how you keep going. I'd love to spend some time having a chat about business and your business and etc. So please do say hi. Drop me a line. Wherever you're seeing this, you should be seeing this either in Facebook, LinkedIn, or maybe some other places. Do say hi. Say connect to me. Drop me a line, and I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to bring you onto the halftime huddle. It's quite seamless, quite easy, just a chat. I'd love to do that. So. The little teaser we talked about is about time. I've been talking over the last month about various different things around benefits of working in a mastermind, how you can support each other, and also sometimes when you want to go fast and you need to do some stuff on your own with and just get going, and how a coach and coaching frameworks and stuff can help you. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to and we hadn't really got through to yet was about time. It's about time today. Time management is a big deal. A lot of people spend a lot of time, pun intended, to help and support people through time. If you're not managing your time properly, it can be quite stressful. You end up not doing the job as well as you should be doing. Maybe your output is not quite as efficient as you'd like it. Deadlines missed and all this kind of stuff that goes with the problems of poor, as they call it, time management. But the thing that I wanted to spend a bit of time on today was the fact that it's not about managing time. It's about managing what you do with your time, how you use it, and how you utilize it. And when you get it right, you stop obsessing of how you're using your time. Stress is reduced. You get much more efficient over what you're doing in the time you've got. And even some of the wasted time that you used to have when you were managing your time poorly beforehand, you get a chance to do some of the things you wanted to do before. You free up time so that you can do the things you really love to do. So let's have a little talk about this. And I wanted to just talk about some different techniques you can use to use the time available. And we're going to use an example of the Pomodoro method. For those of you who haven't heard of the Pomodoro method, I'll put a link in the comments below, so where you can go and or search Wikipedia. There's a lot of stuff about Wikipedia. It was a process in there from the 80s that a guy called Francesco Cirillo was a IT expert uses to help manage his time using focused time. It's based around the idea that your brain works in chunks of time, and it can get quite tiring. It's quite hard work spending time focused on something, and a nice solid chunk is probably helps, and it's also helps to be focused on a particular time. So it worked around the idea of what it has is a work session and then a break, and then a work session, then a break, and these work sessions tend to be about 25 minutes with a 5-minute break. So there are 30-minute chunks, or sort of pomodoros as they call them, filled with a 25-minute sort of focus time. If you can, and what you try and do is to make that distraction free, and so you can focus on the things you wanted to do in that time. And then you have a break, so it gives your brain a chance to chill, to do some stuff in between. So because it's quite tiring. But what do you do with that 25 minutes? What do you do with that 25 minutes? How do you use that 25 minutes? Because this is what one of the real sort of ideas behind time management is. What do you do and how do you use your time? There are other things around it, but we're talking today about that part of time management. There's the old way of using that time. If you had 25 minutes of free distraction-free time, you could use it the way you have been using it maybe beforehand, picking up whatever's in front of you, flitting from one thing to another, multitasking, context switching, all the things that are giving you the challenges in previous sort of before you had a better tools we're talking about today. So we're going to talk about 3 different ways of focusing on managing the time. There are terms that often get used and misused in talking about them, and people sort of sometimes misunderstand what they're trying to do with these times. So we're going to try and clear that up a little bit as well. So the first step and the first thing that most people think about when they've got a chunk of time is what we call batching, time blocking, or time batching. And this is where you would pick a bunch of related tasks. These are small and related tasks that will fit in that 25-minute time. You'll be able to do 3, 4, 5 little tasks. For instance, a good way of thinking of that is responding to your emails, reading and responding to your emails. You might want to spend sort of that 25-minute work session reading your emails and sorting and answering your emails, and then finishing. So or you might find there are some small editing tasks, or some small writing tasks, or there's some small admin tasks that you might want to block together. Or batch together. And the advantage of batching things together is often when you're doing things that are the same, you're in the same sort of state. You don't have to switch between thinking about writing, between thinking about reading and answering problem solving, or switch between editing and switch between writing and texting, and etc. That kind of stuff. If you're doing the same sort of thing, then the context switching is minimized, so you're a little bit more efficient, and you generally have one chunk of getting into state or set up for ready for those sort of set of tasks, and then at the end of it you have a common sort of close down. You can tick off the things you do, move from one thing to another, close down your tool that you're using, etc. Those are the sort of things you get, the common things you get when you batch things or block things together. So that's one step, which is time blocking or time batching. The other thing that sometimes gets mixed up is what they call time boxing. And essentially, you have a time box when you use a Pomodoro of 25 minutes, anyhow, your work session. So it's essentially putting a bit of a longer project into a box. This is, for instance, if you've got a multitask long project that you want to work on, an activity that will take quite a bit of time to do. You might want to box it into small subtasks. And the advantage to this, and the same sort of thing about this, is you box, but you'd box it into your 25-minute chunk. You'd have a setup process where you get into the right mindset, you collect all the particular resources, open up the tools you might want to use, maybe read any previous notes or any information that you might have gathered together on your previous chunk of time working on this, or your time box, and then crack on with the work you need to do, coming close to the end of the time. And this is the trick. This is the thing sometimes people seem to forget when they're doing time boxing, is to properly finish the time box in the time. So essentially, if you've got a 25-minute time box, maybe you want to spend a minute or two either end of the boxes. One, to make sure you've got all the stuff ready, and you're ready into the right state to set it up. And then the important thing at the end is to what they call it, you would call in a code type basis, is what you call a teardown, which is actually pulling things out. So you'd record the progress, you'd close all of the tools you might have up in place, gather all the resources together, put them into any files or systems that you might do, ready to so they're ready for you to pick up when you come to the next time box. This gives you two things. It gives you a sense of closure, because one of the things the brain does not like is the brain doesn't like the fact that you've got open loops all the time. You've got things that you're thinking about. If you've closed it down, turned off the machines, put all the stuff back in their folders, written some notes to say what you're going to do next, all that kind of stuff, tricks the brain thinking you've finished something and you're ready to go, and it doesn't have to focus any time and energy on it. So that helps. It also gives you a sense of progress. You know that you've done X, because often when you see a big task, all you see is what's ahead of you. You don't see what you've done. So if you've done things like making sure you've put the progress in, said what you're going to do, said what you're going to do next, ticked off kind of stuff, you can see how you're progressing through that. So that is another advantage of what they call time boxing larger activities. And then there's the third management of this particular time that I wanted to talk about, and this is what's called time bounding. And this is to help and cope with what some of you may have heard of is Parkinson's law, which is the fact that work expands to fill the time available. We often spend a lot of our time polishing, finishing things off, making things perfect, when okay would be good enough. And if we've got an unlimited amount of time, we often spend our time doing those little frills and nice to haves and all these other kinds of bits that maybe aren't really needed, but will fill up the time. So having a time bounded task, i.e., you may have something that you could do okay enough in, say, 25 minutes, but if you had an hour, you could still fill and still get it done. So you might want to say, I'm going to do this particular task, and at the end of the 25 minutes, that's it. It's done. It's done good enough for me to put it out there or do whatever I need to do to move on to the next part. And that's time bounding. It's the same sort of stuff. You would again do the setup and the finish and the progress, etc. But what the advantage of doing a time-bounded activity, or bounding the time around a particular activity, is it stops the work expanding to fill the time. It stops you getting stuck in the perfectionism loop, where you're spending way too much time on small changes that take a lot of time but make a very little difference in the progress. You get to it's often the great to excellent takes a lot of effort and energy and returns very little in the background. Good enough or good or great often is more than enough to get whatever you want advantage out of the thing you're trying to do. So those are the three ways that you can just manage your time better or utilize the time that you've got better, because you can't manage time. You can't do anything with your time. Time just goes along. What you want to do is utilize what you do in that time. And those three things I'll repeat again are time blocking or time batching, where you block task relevant related small tasks together to do them all in one block of time, or time boxing, where you have put a box of time around subtasks, so you ensure that you know how you can get some progress, you get some step around it, so you can break things up rather than seeing a sea of big one, big sort of unmanageable task in front of you. You've got little chunks of time. And then the final part is time bounding, where you are trying to essentially reduce the feeling of wanting to go that little bit more, do a little bit more, do a little bit more. And you can put it into a time bounded block. So those are the three things I wanted to talk about today. I hope they help you. But there is one also very good thing about sort of when you do this kind of stuff is, and I want to remind you to do this, is always remember to the Pomodoro block is a work session has got two pieces in it. It's got the 25-minute work session in, and which is where you can do the time boxing, the time blocking, or the time bounding activities. And then it's got the 5 minutes where you can relax. Remember to spend a bit of that time celebrating the fact that you've just done 25 minutes of concentrated full-on work and you've got some stuff done. So remember to celebrate. Have a cup of coffee, do something nice, go for a 5 minute sort of bit of fresh air. Do whatever makes you feel good. Remember to celebrate. So that's me. I hope you find these things really useful. Again, my call to action for you guys out there is to hit me up, say hi, and come along and have a chat. I'd love to speak to you at the Halftime Huddle. I think you've probably got loads of useful stuff you can help and share with others in the same sort of similar situation. We'd love to have a chat. So do say hi, and remember, celebrate your time. And utilize the time well. And I hope the second half of your week is going to be awesome. And I will see you again next week.